It is not a secret that Asus ROG is a large fitting place for gamers. They've got PCs, laptops, monitors and a whole bunch of different devices and accessories. As the world of gaming smartphones is expanding, Asus decided not to bow down to competitors and presented their vision of the ideal gaming smart machine in the face of Asus ROG Phone. Shall we start? For the beginning, let's take loads of positive vibes from the outer look. In front you will see Gorilla Glass with nice oleophobic coating a bit rounded on the edges. Also there are two good looking orange strips with multimedia speakers behind them. The frame is made of aluminum and obtains a couple of new things to show. On the right side, together with microphone, volume rocker and the power button, Asus plays a couple of haptic sensitive zones called air triggers. Let me get you straight to the main point of this brand new stuff. Say you decided to jump into the World Tanks Blitz. As the game loaded, with a swipe you can call Game Genie menu and turn on the triggers, then pull out two virtual circles on defined places in game interface and you're ready to rock. On demand, that could be haptics for shooting, minimap, repair kit, whatever you want. How comfortable is that? Quite enough. However, as we get used to work with touch screen, frankly speaking it was too lazy to learn new game mechanics. If you search for some alternative to up-screen buttons, this feature is for you. By the way, it works snappy indeed. Turning back to sides, on the left one, apart from SIM card slot and another air trigger, we have such plug. A reasonable question is:
what the f is this piece of shit?
Here we have contacts for the external cooling system called AeroActive. Check out how this thing looks. The accessory comes in one package with the smartphone, which is already good, but wait, here's more. First of all, this stuff really works. Thanks to it, the system performance maintains an excellent work condition for a very long time. Secondly, it carries not only a cooler but also a customizable RGB backlight, USB-C port and 3.5 mini jack. Imagine you're at some comfortable place, on a couch for example, with all necessary cables plugged into your side-mounted port and nothing bothers your working or gaming process from either sides of the smartphone. Besides, there's a pleasant cooling all over your hands. Sounds really great. Also, you can connect other accessories, for example TwinView Dock, a remarkable game center, but you will have to buy it separately. Essentially, ROG Phone has a wide cloud of accessories, about which you can read more on Asus website. The top and lower edges of our guy get a pair of additional microphones, Type-C and mini jack. Finally, we get to the back. The appearance is magnificent. In my mind, this is how the real gaming smartphone should look like: brutal, stylish, unique. In most of its parts, we are looking at Gorilla Glass, plus a small piece of metal with riser radiator ribs from the built-in passive cooling system. It consists of carbon and copper parts inside the body, plus a vapor chamber. Altogether, they must disperse the heat all over the body, which is already great. Don't forget to include the AeroActive cooler and you will hear that crispy sound of masterpiece. Of course, the phone has backlight not only on the removable cooling module, but also on body. This iridescent ROG logo looks very nice and epic, especially in the dark. The fingerprint reader that lives on the back of the smartphone is slightly off-centered. Finding that sensor blindly might not always work fine for the first time, considering great sizes of the smartphone. The reader is not the fastest in the world, but stable. It is great that guys from Asus understand the non-ideal location of the finger readers, so they have equipped the device with a face unlock. It is flashy speed at good light, good enough in a standard room light, slow with a bad one, and completely numb in darkness. The assembly of the device also makes me smile. There are no gaps between the components. Under a strong squeeze, the body doesn't creak without any hints that it is about to fall apart. The ergonomics basically can hardly surprise at the background of modern flagships. It is almost as large as S9 Plus or OnePlus 6. This means that I personally feel difficulties using ROG Phone with one hand. If you already had a big smartphone, I think you will cope with this guy without any problems. One-hand mode is of course included and convenient to use. Our guy doesn't get wireless charging, but it has basic protection from water. I would not advise to swim with it, but ROG Phone should definitely survive a walk in the rain. We didn't forget to mention, and Asus didn't forget to include NFC, as how without this feature in 2018? Finally, we covered all questions regarding the body. Moving on to the screen, here we have 6-inch 90Hz AMOLED panel with Full HD Plus resolution. It is 2:1 in terms of height to width ratio with 10-point multi-touch and support of HDR. Will you ask, is it pleasant to work with this display? I say undoubtedly yes, especially if your eyes can normally stand the organic screens. The colors are aggressive as we usually see in AMOLED, glad that if necessary it is possible to adjust that in settings. The display has adequate viewing angles, unwanted red or green colors might appear only under critical tilting, overall the picture and readability are smooth. Everything is as usual with brightness range, you will watch the screen with comfort both in complete dark and on sunny day. Regarding 90Hz scanning frequency, this is definitely good, obviously high FPS in games are guaranteed and it's complemented by a high update rate which provides a new pleasant experience with the device. By the way, you can turn the 90Hz not only in games but also around the interface. Another pleasant thing is always on display, a pity that there is nothing to speak of its settings, but simply because this feature is here my soul is already grateful. The sound in headphones brought up different opinions in the office. For one, the bass in our guy fades into the background and gives more attention to the upper sound range. In turn, another opinion found the bass slightly in excess. However, we all agreed that with the maximum volume there are no problems and details are solid. In the end, equalizer is included and we all know how to use it. And perhaps not the most obvious phrase for everybody, despite the fact that according to the standards of the smartphone, the device plays quite well, it is not even the basic level of hi-fi players, still plenty of work to do here. The sound and speakers I will describe in short, it's badass. The output is very loud, in high quality and what's important, directed to the user and not aside. While gaming, the effects sound amazing no matter what they are. Shots, spells, tank engine or the noise from an enemy sneaking behind you. Watching movies through the built-in acoustics is not an issue either, the volume is vivid, details with bass are not quite elegant as usual, but the rest of frequency range is extremely nice. Speaking about cameras, let's begin with 8-megapixel selfie camera. It takes well-crafted photos and along with HDR does its job even under not the most perfect conditions. The main camera consists of two modules for 12 and 8 megapixels, one is classic, another stands for the wide-angle lens. Generally, it's typical story for Asus. Here we have 4-axis optical image stabilization, it gives us pretty good photos without over-sharp or increased saturation. I enjoyed looking at these pictures, but I would not call the ROG Phone a camera phone, it just takes snapshots, nothing extraordinary, even if photos are not enough to win the art contest, but in most cases they also came out satisfying. Video shooting takes place under 4K resolution with 30 or 60 FPS. I like the resulted clips, they are far from shabby and you can see it now. Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 acts here as the chipset with 2.96 GHz processor. The graphic part is covered by Adreno 630, phone has 8 GB of RAM and 512 GB of storage. There is no way to use micro SD cards. Given the presence of the built-in cooling system in addition to a portable dynamic one, I think my words about the awesome performance will be quite predictable. Anyway, I'm stating a fact. ROG Phone gives punch in the face to absolutely any game from Google Play. World of Tanks Blitz, Warships Blitz, PUBG, Dungeon Hunter, Mortal Kombat, Modern Combat, whatever you want. Everything is going well with the highest FPS and in the most epic graphics. Of course, I speak not about 10-15 minutes of gaming on ultra settings without lags, we aim for at least an hour or more. ROG Phone couldn't avoid our benchmark tests. Take a quick glance on the scores. Next, we speak about throttling. As in any other modern smartphone, we cannot escape from it. After all, without it, sending a smartphone to repair due to burned insides would be quite a common thing. The only question is how high throttling is and how quickly it comes. For your attention, here is an animation with 10 AnTuTu tests with and without active cooling system. I hope everybody found what was seeking for. Here's another one. This time we challenge ROG Phone in both games and benchmark, and we measure the temperature, discharge and AnTuTu scored for throttling. And now the same numbers together with scores taken from Pocophone F1, OnePlus 6 and Galaxy S9 Plus. This time, if you need, take a pause and check out the results with attention. This smartphone powers by 4000 mAh battery. With average loads, it takes a day and a half to run out of the charge completely. If you're good in games, getting the maximum performance from processor with dynamic cooling, not forgetting about the camera, the phone will grant you not more than half a day of battery life. I would call such timing extremely good, considering the greedy hardware and screen sizes. Device operates with Android 8.1.0 under a gaming style skin. Actually, I'm not a fan of such look, however in our case, personally, I think that Asus managed to combine the body and software appearance from designer's perspective. The system works snappy, no need to worry about lags. Among the software features, I'd like to point out the gaming center. You can control the cooler speed, the backlight and create profiles for downloaded games. Also, here you can tune the processor frequency, screen scanning and settings for the incoming messages. So, what do we have in the end? As always, first goes price. The approximate value of our guy with 512 gigs of storage is $1100. I agree, this number hits hard. However, let's take a look from the other side. Somebody won't need 90Hz screen, another will find the backlight unnecessary, one will say that the dynamic coolant is enabled brat. Well, imagine if we release the smartphone from this feature that theoretically kicks around. Do you know what we'll actually get in result? Pocophone F1 for instance, with top hardware and not pricey. That's exactly what you're looking for, aren't you? Why, any problem? Display is not a masterpiece. Phone looks like plastic POS? Does design feels a bit green? Oh, up a notch and no NFC. Or the drill is manufacturer? Really? Well fellas, as they say, we need to manage our priorities. If you're not ready to pay a serious sum of money for a well set, almost from all sides product, you'll need to look for some alternative that will definitely be outplayed by ROG Phone in numerous categories. For all of us who understand that good things may also come in expensive packages, I will definitely say that Asus ROG Phone is worth buying, and you can find the links to this smartphone in the description box below. I thank you for watching, till next time.